Hey, we're live. What's going on? I'm not sure. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Conor Phillip, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Dundee University Comedy Club Open Mic Night, where me and a host of brilliant comedians will be talking about lockdown and funny stuff. So let's talk about lockdown. I think that going through lockdown has been a chance to try new things. And I've tried a new thing before. I tried Russian tea. Yeah, I tried Russian tea. It took me ages to fish the tea bag out of the vodka bottle. So I'm a young guy and I'm sort of struggling to find a job at the moment. That's the story for most people. I was at a job interview. I was quite nervous, and the interviewer was asking me, he said, "Conor, I've got a question. If you could have a conversation with someone, living or dead, who would it be?" I said, "Definitely the living one." He asked me, he said, have you got a unique skill? Can you do something that no one else can? I said, yes, I can read my own handwriting. No one else can do that, right? No one else. And it's, as I said, try new things. So last week was a first for me. What I did, I was having lunch at an open air cafe, and it started raining. It took me 2 hours to finish my suit. But through all this madness, there's still something I'm trying to learn. After a lot of practice, I'm still learning it. I'm trying to learn how to drive. I was in the car with my instructor, and I thought things were going well. And then the instructor said to me, he said, "Conor, what do you do that? You just made an illegal turn." I said, "Don't worry about that. The police car behind us did the same thing." Oh, can't be that bad. Can't be that bad. Had a little chat down the station. Can't be that bad. Talking about cars, I was walking down the road, and I saw someone at the side of the road with their car, and they were looking under their bonnet. And I said, "Well, what's going on?" He said, "Piston broke. Piston broke." I said, "Yeah, so am I." Yeah. Aye, so if you're in the UK right now, you might know the clocks went back. It depends where you are. Some people, the clocks are going back. I was nervous, when the clocks went back, because I didn't know where mine came from. Didn't know where to put it back. Aye. So I'm not really traveling about anymore. No one is. But I've been looking forward to future holidays. And I was booking a holiday for next summer. And I was booking holiday. I was on the phone in the airline, and the person on the phone, she says, "How many people are flying with you?" I say, "You tell me. It's your plane." It's lockdown. I'm sure you've heard it from a lot of people. I find lockdown to be quite lonely. That's why I enjoy these online shows, because lockdown can be lonely. Well, in fact, just last week, one of my friends left me. He stopped talking to me, and it was because of my OCD. I told him to close the door 5 times on the way out. Yeah. Been chatting with the neighbors now and again. They're strange folk. Last week, one of the neighbors was knocking on my door at 3 a.m. Luckily, I was still awake playing my bagpipes. The other week, I was I burnt 2,000 calories. That's the last time I leave brownies in the oven. Now I've been messing about with lots of different jobs. One of my past occupations was I was working as a parsley farmer until I got sued. Yeah, they garnished my wages.
Hey.
Waka waka. That's the worst one you hear all night. So one thing I really miss is just socializing in crowds, having fun days in the sun. I remember one of my most cherished memories. I was a child, and I was at the beach, and I was doing one of those donkey rides. Remember those donkey rides you get at the beach? So I was riding the donkey, and someone threw a rock at me, and I fell off. Yeah, I was stoned off my ass. Aye. Word of advice for you is that if a bunch of clowns attack you, always go for the juggler.
Ah.
Oh my god.
What really, yeah, I'm quite a happy fella, but there's things that annoy me now and again. And one thing that really annoys me is when people get common sayings wrong. Yeah, people get common sayings wrong. I think it's not rocket salad.
Yeah.
I mean, so I was in the chemist the other day, and I was just chatting to one of the assistants there. I said, "Excuse me, you know what cures coronavirus?" And she said, "Ammonia cleaner." I said, "Sorry, I thought you worked here."
Nice.
So I was got in a bit of trouble with the police recently. They arrested me for illegally downloading all of Wikipedia. I says, "Wait, I can explain everything."
Oh.
We had this thing in the UK called like Eat Out to Help Out, where you can go out for meals and stuff. And I like going out for a meal now and again. One time I was going out to a restaurant, went a wee bit early, right? And the manager says to me, "Oh, do you mind waiting for a little while?" I said, "Not at all." He says, "Great, bring these drinks to table 9." This was quite something that annoyed me yesterday. I was looking out the window, and a German Shepherd shat on my grass. But afterwards, he apologized and introduced me to his dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
Folks, we have got a wonderful show lined up for you tonight. We've got some fantastic acts, and I am going to bring on the first one now. This is his first time on the show, and I'm delighted to have him on. Please give a very warm welcome to my good friend, Tomohawk again.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Tom, and I've noticed a big difference between doing live gigs and Zoom gigs is that at a live gig, it's obvious if you take your jokes on stage with you and you're looking at them while you're doing the show. But because the camera's facing this way, you guys don't have a clue what I'm looking at. I could be browsing porn stashes while you're all telling jokes. I'm not. I'm not looking at my porn stash. I'm looking at your porn stash, Jack. I don't know if there's a Jack watching the show right now, but he'd be fucking freaking out if he was. So I was in Edinburgh recently. I was in an old bar in Edinburgh recently, and I know it was old because there was a condom machine in the bathroom. I haven't seen one of those things in ages, and it's one of these things you put the coin in and you pull the thing out and it drops down. And the thing is that like Durex has an expiry date of about 2 years after production, so I'm pretty sure I would have had to snap one of those condoms like a glow stick just to get it over my dick. There's also this burger challenge I tried while I was in Edinburgh, and it's one of those ones where you eat a lot of food and you get it for free if you eat it fast enough. And I thought to myself, food challenges are kind of a ridiculous notion because you never see any other kind of business model that fits with, I can walk into Co-op tomorrow and just say, "Yo, I just ate an unreasonable amount of food from here in a stupidly short amount of time. You guys owe me a refund." And the staff would be like, "Oh my gosh, sir, we had no idea that you had a lack of concern for your own health. There you go." Or you go to the till at Primark with like 15 jackets on, just like, and the staff's like, "How long did that take you to put on?" 10 seconds. Also, I can't feel my hands anymore. Well, rules are rules. Have a good day, sir. So I've been thinking a lot about how we discovered things in caveman times, and I'm pretty sure that marijuana was discovered by the gatherers. Like the hunters would be all about to go out. They'd say, "Yo, guys, you want to go run around for 3/4 of the day and then haul a massive beast back to the camp?" And all the gatherers there just like, "Nah, dude. Tell you what, we'll gather stuff while you're away, and like, you bring the meat, we'll get the okay, cool, we'll see you there." And the hunters would be back, and they'd be hauling this massive beast over their shoulders, like, Whew. All right, what did you guys get? About an ounce and a half, something like that. Come on, man, you're like 13 years old now. That's half your life gone. You got to get your life together, dude. You live in a cave. Don't fucking judge me. You're right. We should probably start pulling our weight, though. Hey, let's go get those wolves to help us. You know, those wolves we met the other week. Yo, wolves, how's it going? Woof. I mean, what? Wait, you can speak? Yeah, I'm bilingual, dude. What's up? We're going on a hunt. Do you want to join us? Is there going to be meat? Oh, so much meat. Okay, just give me 2 seconds. I'll check with the boys. Woof 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 bark. Woof 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 woof. Okay, yeah, cool. We're in. And they get back to the fire. You know, there's meat, there's weed everywhere. They throw a bunch of weed on the fire. They're all sitting there just like, look at these dogs. They're so stupid. That one's chasing his tail. He thinks it's someone else. And the dog's laying down next to the fire, just like, man, I could eat a horse. We just ate a horse. Yeah, I know, but like figuratively. And anyway, the human population's grown staggeringly since then. A friend of mine told me that every person that you know, there's at least 4 other people that look exactly like them. And he took a second and he said, "Poor bastards, eh?" At least we all drew the short straw together. So I was looking for a book the other day, and the paperback edition was a bit too expensive for the money I had at the time. So I looked at the Kindle version, and Amazon told me that the Kindle version was out of stock. Like, if there's a version of the book that shouldn't be out of stock, it's the Kindle, the electronic version. Like, what the hell? It'd be like if someone said to me, "Yo, dude, can you tell me what 3,000 times 264 is?" And I'm like, "Nah, dude, we used up all the numbers in my calculator for the last calculation we did. We're gonna have to go and buy another cartridge from the shop." So anyway, that's me. I'm just going to do a short bit tonight. I need to get going, but I've got one last joke, and this is possibly the darkest joke I've written in a long time, so strap in. The only reviews that euthanasia clinics would get would be bad reviews from the people that they didn't manage to kill. It was shite. It took ages to be seen. There was no Wi-Fi, and I didn't even fucking die. One star on TripAdvisor. Anyway, thank you very much for having me. I've been Tom again. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Yeah! Yay! All right. I really love that. Everybody, give it up for Tomohawk McGinn. That was outstanding, my friend. Well done. And I tell you, talking about the dark humor and also dark at night, I tell you one thing, I don't really go to the pub anymore, but sometimes, I used to go to the pub late, and it was quite strange, my local pub, because it's a 10-minute walk from my house to the pub, but it's a 30-minute walk from my pub to the house. I mean, the difference is simply staggering. Talking about walking. So I find the roads are quite busy, given despite the pandemic going on, I find the roads are quite busy. And I was stood there 10 minutes trying to cross the road. And someone says to me, "Hey, there's a pelican crossing up the road." I said, "Well, I hope he's got better luck than I do." Well, we're going to bring on the next act for the evening. This guy, it's another new person. Wow, we're getting lots of new folk on the show, and I am so happy for that. So please give a very warm welcome from a good man. It is where is he? Hi, there he is. Yeah, give a very warm welcome to my good friend James Gardner. All right, the floor is yours, my friends.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Britain's best hoarders. I've just moved house, so I'm not in a changing room or the janitor's closet. I'm not going to do any lockdown jokes because I think you've heard them all before. So I'm just going to spare you the sort of pain of that. Okay. So the funny thing about banana bread, right? It's a slow burner. Let it seep in. The good lockdown's been difficult, right? Because you're not allowed to go anywhere. But for me, that's been pretty good because there's places I don't want to go, like Edinburgh. right? Like, I fucking hate Edinburgh. If you're from Glasgow, which I am, the moment you set foot in Edinburgh, you're filled with jealous hatred. And the reason for that's simple, right? Edinburgh's got the castle. What's Glasgow got? Well, you've got the Duke of Wellington statue. So Edinburgh's most notable landmark is a 12th century World Heritage Site. Glasgow's most notable landmark is a piece of vandalism. And what's worse? What's worse, if you're from Glasgow, we're more proud of that fact. But there's another big difference between Edinburgh and Glasgow, right? People in Edinburgh seem to have pretty big houses, but fairly modest cars. Whereas in Glasgow, it's the opposite, right? Smaller house, bigger the car. Like growing up, I used to think you got a free Range Rover Sport with the council house. And I grew up in a place called Maryhill, right? It's quite rough, but we owned our own house, right? But we didn't have much money. We didn't have like Sky Television. But I had mates who, you know, got quad bikes for their Christmas and had big satellite dishes plastered onto the side of their flats. And it got to the point it was quite confusing. It became aspirational for me. Like, I used to go to my mum and dad once a year. Do you think one day we could live in a council house? And it was tough for me growing up in Maryhill because I was actually a carer for my older brother, Alexander, who's got cerebral palsy. And he's profoundly disabled. He's confined to a wheelchair. He can't walk and he can't talk. And we would still tell him to shut up. Nervous laughter's okay because it's true, right? But the way my brother talks, he talks with his eyes. He looks up for yes and down for no. So you'd like walk into the living room and he'd be sticking eyes on you. And I'd say to my mum, "What's wrong with Al?" And she'd be like, "Don't listen to him. He's been going on all day." It was tough in my house, right? And like, my friends would come to the door to see if I was going out to play, right? That's stuff you used to do before the internet, guys, right? So a few young guys on tonight. They'd ask if I was coming out, and I'd just be about across the threshold, and my mum would catch me, and she'd go like that. "Where do you think you're going?" I'd say, "I'm away to play football." And my mum would say, "Take your brother." Oh, for fuck's sake. So I'd need to take my brother, right? So my mum would get my brother in a wheelchair and she'd bump him down the front steps. Now I know why we couldn't get a council flat. And I'd have to take my brother in tow with me to go and play football at the local primary school with all my mates. Do you know how tough that was for me as an 8-year-old? Right? Because like all my pals would jump the fence. I'd need to go the long way around in the wheelchair. I was fucking last pick for everything. Once I got my brother to the football pitch, I had to put him at the sidelines, right? Close enough that he could see everything, far away enough that, you know, he wouldn't get hit by the ball. And then I'd run back and forward to the touchline every 2 minutes to check if he was okay. I played more fucking 1-2s with my brother than anyone else in the fucking team. But it was very, very rewarding. Very rewarding, right, for me. Because I never had to go on goals once. My parents used to leave me at home to look after my brother, right? They'd be out to like Asda. That was the big Asda. That was the most notable landmark in Maryhill. And I remember one day looking after my brother and he's trying to tell me something. And I was telling him to shut up, right? And he's pointing across the road. And it turns out that there was 2 guys he spotted in a neighbour's back garden and they were about to tan the house. Now, that doesn't mean he's putting fake tan on the rough cast or anything like that, guys, right? It's a working class term, right? They were about to break in. So quick as a flash, I run across the road. True story, by the way. I knock the letterbox, ring the bell, I'm shouting at the window, creating a disturbance, and these guys fled off into the night. Well, one of the neighbours phoned the police. Police turn up at the door and they say, "Right, there's been a murder." And I said, "No, mate, that's next door." Right? Says, "There's been a burglary." Right, aye. Who saw the burglary take place? Who saw them? Look at my brother. Says, "He did." Oh, for fuck's sake. I said, "Listen, by the way, you're in order," right? I said to the officer, I said, He understands everything. He looks up for yes and down for no, right? He understands everything. He can tell you what's went on, right? Says, okay. So about an hour later, the police have gone through all the mug shots, all the rest of it. Really, really unhappy, right? And one of the officers turns to me on the way out and said, I thought you said your brother could understand everything. I thought you said he'd be able to help us. I said, oh, aye, he could do all that, mate, but he's not a grass. True story. My girlfriend and I have just bought a puppy with this whole lockdown carry on, right? But getting a puppy now is different from the way it used to be. You've got to download an app, right? And then you got to start sort of swiping through and seeing what takes your fancy. It's a bit like Tinder for dogs. I don't mean that way, right? For me, it was a bit more like MSN Messenger because all I was interested in was age, sex, and location. But the puppy's not been born yet, right? So you've got to look at pictures of the mum and the dads, right? To try and figure out what the puppy might look like. I started panicking, right? What if they're using fake profile pictures? I'll be the first guy that gets fucking catfished by a dog. And you've got to be careful, like, about the breeds mixing, because you don't want your dog to have a genetic defect. So you've got to sort of take as much in as you possibly can. Like, are both parents heavy smokers? So we saw one that we liked, right? And we went to see the breeder. Now, I don't know if you know, right? But a breeder's like a pimp for dogs, right? I mean, you want to see it. And I says to the breeder, look, this is the one that I like, right? And I showed her a picture, right? I think it, and she went, all right, okay, that's the dad. Said, yeah, that's a big cocker. I went, he does look like a bit of a shagger, doesn't he? Right? She says, no. Listen, that's the breed. It's a cocker spaniel. She said, all right, sorry, I feel a bit stupid. I'm with you. She says, now, do you want a show-line cocker or a working cocker? She says, well, I don't really want it to have a job because it'll just be in the flat with me. She says, no. Listen, there's different types of cocker. I went, all right, sorry, felt even more stupid. No. A working cocker's a gun dog. I went, I'll go for one of them because it's best it can protect itself. I do stay in Mary Hill. So I've got this dog, and you start noticing things you've never noticed before, like these police vans with dog patrol written on it, right? Armed response unit and canine task force. I started thinking, fucking, this problem with weapons must really be big with these dogs. But my girlfriend, man, it's changed her life because we've always got shit to talk about. I mean literally, all right? We've gone from partying to pooping, right? All we do is just try and toilet train wee Toby, and you're just watching what he's doing every day. Has he been for his business? When did they do it? How did they do it? What's it looking like? I mean, that's all you're interested in. It's got to the point I've become so familiar with it, I started to forget myself. I phoned my girlfriend the other day and I said, Marion, which is strange because her name's Sarah. No. I says, Marion, you want to have seen this shit today? It's a fucking cracker, by the way. It's got good colour, great texture. I'm really happy with it. Not quite as smelly as yesterday, but listen, I'm pleased. We're on a winner. Now, she's on hands-free in the car, and fortunately, nobody's with her because of social distancing. But it did put everybody off at the McDonald's with their sausage and egg McMuffins. You know, at the end of the day, someone's loving it. Guys, you've got a great show coming up. Thanks very much for having me. My name's been James Gardner. If you want to find me on Instagram, you can add me, and I will not follow you back because I'm a raging fucking egotist. But thanks very much for having me, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah! All right. Guys, give it up for my man, James Gardner. Very good set, my friend. I absolutely loved that. And it's good. You're getting a puppy, keeping busy. I've been busy last couple of days. In fact, just last week, I did my first book signing. Yeah, since then, I've been banned from the library. this is sad. Sad times we're living in. I look back to the past and I think about all the people I've lost, and I think, oh, maybe I wasn't a very good tour guide. Talking to my doctor the other week, he says, Connor, one question I need to ask about your health. Do you drink to excess? I said, doctor, I'll drink to anything. So, folks, we're going to bring on our next act for the evening. This person has already been on the show, and I'm delighted that she's come back on again because she is fantastic, very talented. So, pour yourself a cup of coffee, open up a box of toffees, and give a warm welcome to Maeve Boffey. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Maeve Boffey, and that's Maeve, like wave, Boffey, like toffee, coffee. And I'm really annoyed there hasn't been more poems written about me. But I'm in Edinburgh in the second lockdown, which I'm absolutely loving. And you can tell that's a lie, because I've done something that a lot of women do when they're in times of great distress, and I've cut my own fringe. If there's ever a woman in your life who's given herself kind of a more dramatic haircut, you should be terrified or aroused or both. But an interesting part of the lockdown for me has been that I was able to kind of see like who I was at my core. Like you get to see like who you are when no one's watching. And it turns out that I am a disgusting person, which has been quite a disappointment to discover. I genuinely used to believe I love showers. No, I don't. Another big disappointment of mine was I don't actually have the basic organization skills I need to become a superhero, which was a hard thing to find out. I discovered when the sheer number of times I got to the front of the queue at Lidl, opened up my bag, and where is my mask? So I had to do the 2020 walk of shame home, which is where I go home with my bare naked face hanging out. And I'll go home and see some of my own filth for a little bit. But during this time as well, I found a bit of a kinship with North Korea. And there's a few reasons for that. Number one is that a lot of us all have the same haircut. So women get the old panic fringe, and a bit of what I have is sort of like the dishevelled cat lady look, as is more modernly called, the plant lady look. A lot of men have been quite lucky because you've got to grow out the beards without the sort of the bullying that happens at the awkward middle stages. And some ladies have taken the chance to do the same thing as well, so good for us. But at the start of the lockdown, I made a very important goal of like one thing I really wanted to focus on and like achieve, and that was my dream before body. So I put the work in, I put the hours in, I put the donuts in, and I achieved my before body of my dreams. But I also sadly discovered that I don't suit a before body, and that is because I hope you can see in the light in there is that I'm deathly pale. And I don't really have a chin, and sadly my beard hasn't come in thick enough to hide that fact. So it just means the light hits me just right. I look like the ghost of a Victorian child's thumb, which is never a look I really wanted for myself. But to be fair, I was grand during the first lockdown, and that is because I was raised as an elite level only child. In that I grew up in the beautiful part of Ireland. It's called the arse end of nowhere. And I would spend a lot of my days, just singing to rabbits, talking to sheep, dancing with wolves, and basically doing whatever I could to be the answer to Ireland's saddest Disney princess, which I was for 2006, 2008. So good for me. But to be honest, I feel very sorry for parents who have only children, because you have either like 100% success rate or 0% success rate. There's no middle ground. So it's you know, if you've got 3 kids, you can kind of hide the bad one. You'd be like, oh, yes, 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 yes. Kate is getting her master's this year. We're so proud. Yes, Michael is still a teacher. He's doing so well. Yes, Stephen is still trying to be a stand-up comedian. But did I mention Kate's getting her master's?
All right.
It's very hard to hide the black sheep of the family if you just have the one sheep. So a little bit about me as well is that I am actually an engineering student, and sadly I am teaching myself engineering, because it's all at home. I've discovered I am not qualified to do so, which has been very, very frightening, honestly. But I find that working in engineering is quite a lot like being in a porn. A few reasons. Number one, I'm surrounded by men. Also, I've got a great set of double Ds. That's 4 classes I'm almost failing. And mostly I think it's because I'm absolutely fucked. Right. Thanks very much. This has been fun. And have a nice one.
Yeah. All right. All right, everybody. Give it up for Maeve Boffey. Now, I know what you mean about that online learning experience, Maeve, because I'm a student as well, and I've been doing a lot of online learning, and I just get distracted by like random emails that come in, you know. So I got this email, and it said that it was obviously, you know, it said that Google Earth can read maps backwards, and I thought that is obviously spam.
Oh God.
Anyway, it's you know, life's been tough, you know. Just the other day, I was in one of those car showrooms. I was standing in the car showroom, and one of the workers came over. He said, "What are you looking for?" I said, "Because I can't afford to buy." Well, we are gonna swiftly bring on our next act, and this is another comedian from the Emerald Isle. We're incredibly lucky to have him on. This is his second time on the show, and I'm delighted to have him on again. He's very talented, very funny. You're gonna love him. So please, everybody, give it up for Eamon McElwee.
Thank you, folks. Thank you. That's the ripple of applause I've been hanging this dream on. And welcome to my garage, as you can see, and indeed to my second Dundee University Comedy Club show. It's possibly the comedy equivalent of that difficult second album. You know, the first show went quite well, and it's kind of raised an expectation to a level that I feel miserably to hit tonight, but we'll give it a go anyway. To be honest, I just hope I don't die, because that'd be fucking awful. You know, when I say that, I don't mean in a like figurative comedic sense, because I mean that's the risk every time. That's comedy. No, like when I say that I hope I don't die, I actually mean that in a very fucking literal, physical, and ultimately fatal kind of way, wherein I fucking cease to be. You know, that'd be awful. Like just be fucking halfway through a joke and my head falls off or some shite like that. You know. But it'd be classic me, like, you know, everybody's having a swell old time and enjoying the show, and then I rock up the fucking hot mess I am and just ruin everyone's evening with me death. You know, so I apologise in advance should that occur this evening, because it'll put a different spin on your evening too, folks. You know, it'll render you not so much an audience as witnesses. You know, there'll be police reports and fucking sirens and counselling for some, probably a field resuscitation on camera and stuff. So nobody wants that this evening. We'll try and keep it light. But so this is, like I said, this is my second show, and I ended the last show by talking a wee bit about myself. So for anybody who didn't catch that, I'll surmise it in 4 or 5 words here. I'm basically a fucking train wreck, yeah, man, and comedy's the next big fucking thing for me, you know. And well, when I first thought about comedy, it sort of like came as an epiphany of sorts, and I don't mean that in a biblical sense. You know, it wasn't like fucking Pachelbel's cannon streaming in the background with tongues of flame licking me whole while getting flayed with a prickly bush up a mountain. Although of an evening that could be perfectly pleasant too. I'm not thinking how anyone spends their time, you know. But no, so me comedy vision, as it were, was if you think more a cross between a Nuremberg rally and a Jean-Michel Jarre gig on crack. Do you know, just a fucking sea of people, a sound and light extravaganza, just obviously swap out fucking hateful Nazi rhetoric with me and you and my jokes, and it was wonderful. But the reality is, folks, it feels somewhat more like a fucking nervous breakdown of sorts. I mean, I'm sitting here in my carriage like a fucking hot mess, talking to my own face on screen. You know, this was not the dream, baby. This was not the fucking dream. But what else? I'm married. I always seem genuinely fucking surprised when I say that and hear those words myself. I'm actually married to a Polish girl, and we met in 2010, so we met 10 years ago. She wasn't one of those fucking mail order jobs. Like, it wasn't. We actually met through work, so I had to sort of do it the old-fashioned way and romance her by breaking her spirit and crushing her dreams and just generally sucking all the fucking joy and hope out of her heart. And finally she broke. But we got married in Poland, and it's a totally different experience. I don't know if anyone's ever been to a Polish wedding. It's basically just fucking 2 days of vodka and Bimber. And Bimber's like a Polish moonshine, like a Polish potshine, if you will. And we had 2 strengths at our wedding, 65% and paralysis. But so got married in Poland, and fucking love's young dream here thought it would be a beautiful idea if we spent our honeymoon, the first day of our honeymoon, in Auschwitz. That's actually a fucking true story. From the happiest day, because we had like some guests over from Ireland, obviously, for the wedding or whatever, and we thought we'd do something with them, and then so where we go at fucking 6 a.m. the day after the 2-day bender. I got up, hungover, a fucking shell of a man, you know, being transported across the Polish countryside on my way to the final fucking solution. From the happiest day of my life to the saddest place on earth. You know, it was quite a fucking. It's quite a come down, and as you can probably tell, I'm a skinny fucking dude. There's no point in denying that. And to be honest, like going to Auschwitz, I didn't look fucking out of place. There were some folk I thought I was trying to get on the character. And in some ways, going to Auschwitz actually served as a metaphor for our sex life after marriage. You know, I mean, I joke, of course, we had coitus once since produced twins, and that definitely fucking ended it. You know, I even try going there now, and it's just like, put that away for fuck's sake. Do you not mind the last time, or kurwa dupek. And that's a great fucking leveler in Polska. You know, when you're married to a fucking foreign chick and they start to swear at you in their native language, that's when you know it's time to escalate that fucking situation to a code red punishment by silent treatment, because that works far better for me. Well, like, woman and my wife had this fucking general impression that solitary confinement is going to be like that silent treatment is going to be like some kind of solitary confinement, you know, but not so. As it turns out, I fucking love it. So she's thrashing about upstairs, kurwa this and kurwa that, and swearing away in Polish, and I'd be downstairs, fucking post joint generally, fucking running the house, TV remote, and like I say, she's upstairs swearing away in Polish, and I'm downstairs giving the men's thoughts and the things that we think about when we're alone. So, like I say, she's upstairs and doing all the swearing, and I'm downstairs, and I'm thinking, I wonder if I could beat a panther a fight. But folks, that's all I have tonight. I will leave you on that mental image. Enjoy the rest of the show. It's been a pleasure playing for you, and I hope I will again soon. Thank you all.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. All right, give it up for Eamon McElwee. Fantastic as always, my friend, and you're welcome back on the show anytime. That was fantastic. That was a good set. So, I was talking about how, like, I've had a lot of jobs in the past. Got jobs, lost jobs. Got at my last job, I was taking lots of notes. I thought it was important to take lots of notes, but then I got in trouble when they checked the cash register. I'm thinking, you know, right now there is so much shit on the television and it makes me think I really need to get the budgie back in its cage. Folks, we're gonna swiftly move on to our next act of the evening. This is another new act, so I'm delighted to have him on. And guess what? It's another Dundonian. Dundee University Comedy Club has now got its second Dundonian into the mix on episode 4. I'm absolutely delighted. So please give it up. Very warm welcome to my good friend Charlie Wallace. All right.
Hello. Yeah, I'm not quite a Dundonian yet. I moved here in August. I'm not sure why, but why not? Why not?
Why not?
Got to live somewhere, don't you? Yeah, I'm glad to be on a mic that's actually based in the UK. Like, I've been doing a lot of mics online in the US, and they don't know what. They hear my accent, they see my face, it doesn't match up. They're not quite sure. Like, I did get told by one heckler to fuck off back to Mexico, which was fun. Another one looked at me and was like, said, "You look kind of like Saddam Hussein if he had like a disappointing nephew." Like, it's like, thank you for that. I have done stand up before. I'm currently wearing my clothes I usually wear on stage, but I put on a bit of lockdown weight. And well, I'll just put it this way: like, I don't know if you can see my T-shirt. I'm holding my gut in right now. If I breathe out, all these lines will go straight. It's not a good look. But yeah, the days are going shorter, the nights are going longer. It's Halloween, but all the shops in Dundee have decided to skip that and go straight to Christmas. They're starting to play Christmas songs and advertise Christmas presents. But they got to be careful with the Christmas songs because you never know which one's going to be considered offensive next. Because they had that where, well, do they know it's Christmas time? That was decided that was racist. Then remember the controversy with "Baby, It's Cold Outside." People were like, "Oh, that's a bit creepy. It was putting something in a drink. Oh shit!" But it made me think like I'm a comedian, right? I've got to stay relevant. I've got to stay with it. So I'm trying to get ahead of it and work out which song's going to be offensive next. And just to be safe, I'm just getting offended by all of them. Like, for example, "I'm dreaming of a white Christmas." Oh, are you, Hitler? That's nice. Well, I'm dreaming of a Christmas of all colors and creeds. I want a black Christmas, a Jewish Christmas, a Muslim Christmas. Doesn't really work, does it? But yeah, also, like, I wish it could be Christmas every day. Every day? What about Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Week? How dare you? Let it snow, let it snow. Homeless people freeze to death in snow every year, but yeah, fuck them, no house-owning idiots. If there's no place to go, build a shelter, donate some socks, ladle soup. That's how it should go. But yeah, most wonderful time of the year. Actually, I prefer Black History Month. That's just how I feel. But, draw a line under that. I do as a comic. I do enjoy words. I love how language can be really clever. Like, have you ever noticed that slur is the only word you can say drunk without slurring? It's perfect. The same with lisp. Having a lisp actually makes it easier to say the word lisp. But like, I don't know why. I wish this could be applied across all of language because some words are really difficult. Like, speech impediment shouldn't be hard to say. The word for dyslexia shouldn't be hard to spell. And the word for depression shouldn't remind you of the state of the economy. It's just basic manners, in my opinion. But yeah, let's have a shout out from everyone who's based in Scotland.
Hey!
We got a few out there. Yeah, as I said, I moved to Scotland in August. I do love Scotland. It is, though, I find it's the weirdest combination of the nicest people you ever meet and complete scum. It is incredible. I just don't get it. Like, I was walking down Dundee High Street, and I saw these guys. They were walking in the same direction as me, ahead of me, and they were yelling at someone. And I thought they were angry. But they weren't. They were yelling at someone the other side of the high street and were just like, "Oh, fuck texting. We'll just shout." I thought, this is amazing. This guy came cycling the other way, and as he passes them, he shushes them. Shh. And they spin around. They don't see him. They see me, and they're like fucking screaming at me. I'm like, it's the other guy. But luckily, the guy on his bike, he stopped his bike and called back to them. He saved my skin, actually, by calling back to them, "Fuck off, you Glasgow cunts." Which that really fucking did it. So these two guys are like running at the guy on the bike, and they're like running and then getting held back by invisible mates, and running and getting held back. I'm like, "Fuck you, you fucking asshole, fuck you!" And it's just like now the guy on his bike screaming, and they're both like, there's now 3 people in the middle of the high street in the middle of the day screaming at each other, and this is when the manager of Specsavers decided she'd had enough. She ran out of her shop, green lanyard flapping, and now she's screaming at them for screaming. They're just shouting and screaming and shouting and screaming. And there's now at this point, it's like 4 random people screaming at each other to shut up, fuck off, or go die under a tree. There's just different messages mixed in. And I think what it made me think of was like, you know, when they find like a huge amount of fossils in the same place because there was like a swamp there and all the animals got stuck in the same place and died and made fossils. I thought it's like, it's going to be like that, isn't it? When there's just like, they're going to find them thousands of years later, like 20 different people all shouting and screaming at each other on Dundee High Street. How am I doing for time, Conor?
Oh, you're doing fantastic, mate. Just keep going as long as you want.
Oh, okay. All right, then. So what was I going to talk about next? Oh, yes. So we're moving forward in history. Like it's a new era. We can't assume gender anymore. Gender's becoming more fluid, which is amusing when you look at like cosmetic companies that traditionally target their advert at women. They now have to suddenly work out how to target them at men as well. Because, you can't assume gender. Men are starting to use makeup more. And it's hilariously patronizing. They don't know what they're doing. I saw a moisturizer advert. It was Jason Statham jumping a motorbike over a fireball, shooting a machine gun off, turns to the camera and says, "Use Clinique moisturizer for men." It's like, what the fuck was this? What is this? But I'm looking forward to its logical conclusion because eventually they're going to have to market everything at men. I'm looking forward to the first tampon advert aimed at men. Because I've got a pitch for it, all worked out, right? It's Jason Statham again. He's on a motorbike. He jumps the motorbike on the back of a Ferrari. Then he jumps the Ferrari on the back of a speeding train. And he sees some passing terrorists. And he pulls his tampon out. And then he pulls the string out with his teeth like the pin of a grenade. He throws the tampon at them and it explodes and the terrorists are killed to pieces. Then I've actually got this here. He puts his sunglasses on and says, "Sorry, guess it was my time of the month." And then the voiceover says, "Tampax for men introducing the new tactical tampon because some men need to bleed too." And then it's fade to black, and I get a shitload of Oscars. And that's the end of my set. Thank you very much for having me. Back to your host, Conor.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, guys, give it up for Charlie Wallace.
Me.
And that was fantastic, man. And I totally know what you mean about that Dundee High Street chaos.
That's
I might have been the man on,
story. 100% true story.
I might have just been involved in that scrum. Who knows? Hard to remember. So I've been trying to learn a lot of things recently. I've been doing this online cookery class, and there's this chef, and you sort of like email him and you say what you want to cook, and he tells you. And I said, "Hey, chef, how do I make an apple crumble?" He says, "You torture it for 10 minutes." I've been all over. So I was talking about Dundee a wee bit now, but I was in Ireland recently, and yes, indeed. So I was in Ireland and I was sort of driving about, and I was trying to get to Donegal, I was trying to get to Donegal, so I would roll down the window, call to a passerby, I say, "Excuse me, what's the quickest way to Donegal?" He says, "Are you walking or are you driving?" I said, "I'm driving." He says, "Good, that's definitely the quickest way." Makes you think, you know. I'm really happy with how it's going tonight. I think we've got some nice comedians here, so a really friendly bunch of people. I know that there's really nice comedians. There's because some comedians are arrogant. You know, as I'll tell you, every comedian thinks they're the best in the business, right? They're wrong. I'm the best in the business. Yeah, madness. I'm just kidding, right? But we are moving on to our final act. I believe it's our final act because one person wasn't able to connect. I think they had a faulty phone and a PlayStation with no camera. So we are moving on to our final act of the evening. And she's a final act for a reason. This is her second appearance on the show, and she's very talented. You're gonna absolutely love her. So if you're feeling fine, give it up for Maggie Levine. All right, here you go. The floor is yours. All right, it's yours.
So, anyway, my name's Maggie. I live in New York City, in Brooklyn. We're actually one of the COVID hotspots. So, luckily, this pandemic has brought everybody the perfect fashion accessory. Ta-da! Aren't these great? I mean, you can buy all sorts of different colors, mix and match with all your outfits. Just remember to remember, ladies, match your mask to your shoes and handbags. And never wear white masks after Labor Day. So anyway, I've been researching my family history because I figure if you can go around the world all screwed up, it's nice to be able to go back and find something to blame it on. Turns out I'm part Canadian. Canadians are known for being very polite. It does not work well here in New York City. I learned that the hard way. Like once I almost got hit by a cab crossing the street. Now, anybody else in that situation would be like, "Hey, fuck you, asshole." It's more like, "Excuse me, sir. Sorry to bother you. Do you mind making love to yourself?" Thank you. You have a lovely evening, too. I grew up in a rich town, but unfortunately we were poor. Like after spring break, all the other girls would come back from Cancun with their golden brown tans. And I came back from Secaucus, New Jersey, looking like a sequestered Irish nun. I wound up getting voted worst dropout of my senior class in high school. Not my fault. Since we couldn't afford a car growing up, when it came time for me to get my driver's license, my dad took me to the amusement park and taught me to drive in the bumper cars. My art teacher one year, he always used to say to us, "There's no such thing as a mistake, only happy little pieces of art." So I told her, "Great. Would you mind talking to my parents about that lovely piece of art sitting in the driveway?" It's now worth $250,000 at Museum of Modern Art. I went to college up in Vermont. It's in a very small rural town. Like, no joke, the cows outnumber the people up there. So I was an English major with a minor in cow tipping. I became an ordained minister because, they let anybody do that online. The cool part about that is that my old job, I can make up any religious holiday I want. And by law, they have to let me out of work. If I need to leave work early on Fridays, I'm conducting happy hour services at Our Ladies Night at Joe's Bar and Grill. Now, my current day job, I work as a background actor, basically being an extra in movies and TV shows. And I gotta tell you, my priorities have really changed since I started doing that. I grew up in the 80s listening to New Kids on the Block, and I dreamt of someday marrying Donnie Wahlberg. Now I work on Blue Bloods, and I dream of being that blur standing behind Donnie Wahlberg. I don't know if you guys get Blue Bloods where you are, but it's a very popular show here. It's a cop show. Check it out. Anyway, we have our own lingo on set. For example, "it's a wrap" means we're done for the day. martini shot means it's the final shot of the day, which I prefer because when we're done for the day, I never have an urge to go out for a chicken wrap. I used to work on Law and Order, the original series, and when I tell people I work on that show, they'd all say the same thing. Were you the dead body? That would have been a step up. The dead body got to join the Actors Union, got paid more than I did, and got to go through the lunch line ahead of me. Unfortunately, that show's off the air now. I have to settle for a rape victim on SVU. Speaking of rape victim, we do have a problem in our neighborhood with a sexual predator who's been groping women coming out of the subway. So this local group came up with the answer. They have people out walking their dogs at night, going by the subway. Then they escort people home coming off the train. Okay, now I think this is a great idea because I come off the subway late at night. I see Miss Nussbaum, my 90-year-old neighbor, walking her Chihuahua Fifi. I feel so much safer already. Yeah, I'm standing there going, all right, Nussbaum, Fifi, you're with me. Because if that guy's coming after me, he's getting to you bitches first. They're really more of a diversion because I'm pretty sure I can run faster than a 90-year-old woman and a Chihuahua. So I flew across country recently on Virgin Airlines. I had a hard time getting to the Mile High Club, though. Okay. But seriously, we were sitting in the exit row, and the flight attendant came around and reminded us that we have this enormous responsibility because in the event of an emergency, we had to help out with the evacuation. Our compensation, free booze. So all I know is if that plane goes down after my third martini, we're going to have a problem here. We had a Yeti living in our building. Best way to describe this guy is picture a troll doll. You maybe stuck one in the end of your pencil. Picture one of those lumbering out of his apartment. 10 feet down the hall to his mailbox. Lumbering back to his apartment. And that's pretty much it for the rest of the day. One time I came home from work and his entire family was cleaning out his apartment. They spent an entire week hauling junk out of his one bedroom. It's a studio apartment, which is about the size of this room. So basically, if you ever catch that Hoarders Bigfoot crossover episode, you'll see me in the background. Hi. So I went up to Connecticut recently, and basically fall is a really big deal up in New England. Me, not a huge fan. I don't like cold weather. I can't stand apple cider. And I just don't get excited about leaves changing colors. Now, if those trees were to turn into peacocks with their dazzling feather displays, then I might get excited. And also, it's like everywhere you go, you're picking your own food. You know, it's like pick your own pumpkins, pick your own apples. Yeah, we actually do have that here in New York City, but we call them supermarkets. But seriously, like, I always wonder, like, how the whole apple picking craze got started. I think it started with a couple of apple farmers who were supposed to be picking the apples off the trees to sell, but they probably had plans to go watch the World Series later that night, were running behind schedule, and they wanted to cut out early. So they were doing the work for them, and the idea snowballed from there. Is how I think this whole thing came about. So, let's see what else. Okay, I guess that's about it for me right now. I just have a couple words of advice should you ever visit New York City. 1, do not pick Angry Birds while standing in front of a police station, okay? Because nothing pisses off cops more than somebody standing there yelling, "Die, pigs, die!" And also, especially with Black Lives Matter being such a hot issue, do not go around calling people the N-word, okay? Ninjas hate to be identified. On that note, my name's Maggie Levine, and you guys have a good night, or night where you are, I guess.
It is night indeed. Well, outstanding, yeah. Well done, well done. All right, everybody, give it up for Maggie Levine. Now, fantastic. What I am about to do is
What happened there? Can you hear me? There's no sound.
You're muted. I like you soldiering on.
He did reference the Titanic earlier.
Speak slowly and we'll lip read.
Did you see this?
It's comedy gold in itself.
We can't hear you. Genius. Absolute genius.
It's changing nothing.
Conor, we can't hear you. Still can't hear you, mate. This is. Are you using Google Chrome? Is that it?
Wait. Are you guys seeing me now? What's happening?
What's happening? I don't know. Aniki!
Hi.
Hello. Well, looking at you.
There we go.
Sorry.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you now.
Can you hear another voice? Like, keep talking, Jordan.
Yeah. Who's Jordan?
Oh, sorry, I thought you. Oh, wait. So what I'm trying to do is like bring on the final act. The final act isn't connecting, so I was hoping that I could like have a video call with him on Messenger and he'd like connect. Can you hear? Can you hear anything?
No.
No.
Oh, there's a good guitar solo happening right now, but I think I'm the only one that can hear it. Well, I'll tell you what. What we are going to do is we'll bring on the music for another episode. But I'm going to end with one more joke. Guys, this has been a wonderful show. And I want to give a big round of applause to all the acts that took part tonight. So we started with Tomohawk McGinn. Give a little smack round of applause for him. And then we had James Gardner. Yeah. After that, we had Maeve Boffey. Fantastic. We had Eamon McElwee. And then we had Charlie Wallace. And finally, we had Maggie Levine.
Woo!
Outstanding. So it was another great show, and I just want to end on one final joke. I was outside the shops today, and I saw a £20 note just sitting there, and you think, what do you do? It's a moral dilemma. I thought, what would Jesus do? So I turned it into wine. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a wonderful audience. My name's Conor Phillip. This is Dundee University Comedy Club. And good night. Yeah. Okay, so say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Don't leave me. Goodbye.